Lena Hayes was more than just a community organizer. She was the conscience of her city. As the leader of accountability now, she had a fire in her belly and a voice that could rally thousands. And she did. After a massive, peaceful protest she organized, 2 police officers involved in a deeply controversial incident were suspended. It felt like a victory, a monumental step toward justice. But in the polished office of Police Chief Robert Vance, it was seen as a declaration of war. Chief Vance didn't see Lena as a citizen exercising her rights. He saw her as an existential threat, an unmanageable force eroding his department's authority. He decided to fight back, not with batons and shields, but with something far more insidious. He initiated a covert program codenamed Operation Quiet Time. The mission was handed to a select group of officers. Shadow Lena Hayes. Watch her every move. And use the city's own rulebook, every forgotten public order violation, to bury her. The goal wasn't to arrest her for activism. It was to bleed her dry, to neutralize her with 1,000 paper cuts of bureaucratic harassment and financial ruin. The assault began just 1 week after the protest's success. It was systematic, relentless, and designed to drain her spirit and her bank account. First, they targeted her home, turning her personal sanctuary into a legal minefield. It started on a Monday night. Lena was on her front porch, having a quiet phone conversation. Suddenly, flashing lights, an officer handed her a ticket for excessive noise after curfew. The fine was $125. It was absurd, but it was just the beginning. 2 days later, on Wednesday morning, another citation, this time for improper placement of residential waste. Her recycling bin, which she'd put out like she did every week, was apparently 18 inches too far from the curb. Another $75 gone. By Saturday, it escalated. A few neighbors had parked on her street to attend a small meeting in her backyard. An officer appeared and wrote a ticket for an unregistered gathering of vehicles. That was a $200 fine. Each ticket wasn't just a financial hit. It meant taking a day off from her freelance writing job, driving across town to appear in court, and watching legal fees pile up. The pressure was building, exactly as Chief Vance had planned. But Operation Quiet Time didn't stop at her front door. The next target was the heart of her organizing efforts, the community center. This humble space, run entirely by volunteers, was where the movement was born, where plans were made, and where hope was nurtured. Suddenly, the center was bombarded with a storm of highly technical, obscure violations. One citation was for improper fire egress signage. Why? Because a single sign was hanging slightly crooked. Another ticket was for uncertified folding chair storage. The center was ordered to purchase a specialized, ridiculously expensive rack to store their chairs. They were even cited for an unspecified occupancy limit posting, a rule so vague no one at the center had ever heard of it. The fines were crippling, but the real damage was the forced closure of the center. With its doors locked, Lena's ability to host meetings, to connect with her community, was severed. Operation Quiet Time was achieving its goal. It was silencing her, isolating her from the very people she fought for. The constant pressure began to take a severe psychological toll. Lena felt a creeping paranoia, the chilling certainty that she was always being watched. An unmarked sedan would be parked 3 blocks from her house, day after day, when she took her dog for a walk. A patrol car would materialize and trail her for several blocks before silently turning away. Her home, her neighborhood, her entire life was now a cage, and the bars were made of suspicion and surveillance. The feeling of being constantly hunted was exhausting, designed to break her resolve long before any court date could. The breaking point came late one evening. The city's main public square, the site of their triumphant protest, was now a place of anxiety for Lena. She was there alone, simply trying to drop off some flyers on a public community board. As she attached a single sheet of paper, a figure stepped out from the shadows. It was a police officer. "Ms. Hayes," he said, his voice flat and devoid of emotion. "You are littering city property with unauthorized promotional materials." He was pointing at the single flyer on a board meant for exactly that purpose. Exhausted, frustrated, and pushed to her limit, Lena began to argue. She tried to explain the legality of the community board, the absurdity of the charge. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't make a threat. She just tried to reason with him. That was all the opening he needed. The officer grabbed her by the shoulder, his grip firm. "You are interfering with a regulatory process. You are under arrest." There was no struggle, no overt violence. It was the cold, clinical application of power. The relentless, legalistic pressure had finally culminated in this moment. Lena Hayes, a leader who had moved a city, was being handcuffed and arrested. Her crimes, public nuisance and littering. A collection of minor technical violations that, when weaponized and stacked together, became a threat to her freedom. As she was being processed at the station, the final chilling piece of the puzzle fell into place. Lena overheard the arresting officer speaking into his radio, his voice low but clear. "Target neutralized. Quiet time protocols complete for the week." In that moment, the full, brutal reality of her situation crashed down on her. The true weapon wasn't the handcuffs on her wrists or the cell she was headed for. The true brutality was the system itself, the calculated, cynical weaponization of mundane city rules. Twisted into a tool to silence dissent, to dismantle community leadership, and to ensure that the powerful remained unaccountable. Her fight was no longer just on the streets. It was against the very laws designed to protect her, and she knew, with terrifying certainty, that this was only the beginning. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. Spreading awareness is the first step in holding power accountable. We'll see you in the next one.